You are most welcome to another exciting review of The Power of Habits. Yes, and today we are going to be reviewing chapter 4 of this book, which is titled Keystone Habits or the Ballad of Paul O'Neill. This chapter is under part 2 of this book that is titled The Habits of Successful Organization. So, as we earlier established, this book does not only focus on you changing your personal habits, it also focuses on how organizations can change their habits for the profit of that organization. And as usual, the author uses stories in this chapter, to buttress this point. So we're looking at how organizations can actually transform their cultures, their profitability, their operations by using habits. So the first story here is the story of Paul O'Neill, who became the CEO of Aluminium Company of America, popularly known as Alcoa. He became the CEO, and when he became the CEO, he did something that was unusual, that got people skeptical, that got them doubting that does this guy actually know what he's doing. What this guy did was that he focused on one habit. He picked on one habit of the organization that everybody would focus on, and that habit, he told them, is non-negotiable. This is the path that I am going, and I do not want anybody to question me on that. And what he did was that he focused on safety, the safety of this company, the safety of all the workers in the company. He told them that if we reduce the rate of accidents, the rate of injuries, because of the kind of operations that this company is engaged in, there were common cases of injuries, of accidents at work. People could just get their arms ripped off by machines. A machine can just hit somebody's head and scatter his skull. Such terrible accidents, people were losing their lives. So he said, this is what we're going to focus on. In fact, before he took this job, he told them, to give him some time to think about it, whether he wanted to take it or not, because he and his family were well settled in another state in America, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to take this job, right? But then after thinking about it, he came up with his list. One habit that he had developed from his school days was the habit of making lists. He would go on writing lists, different lists, list of what is working, list of what is not working, list of the contractors that came to his office, list of the workers that did well, and so on. So he made a list, and the top priority in that list was the safety of workers. He wanted to use it to transform the entire company. So this chapter actually focuses on keystone habits. The keystone habits, or a keystone habit, is that habit that has the power to transform every other aspect of your life. If you can focus on it, it has the power, the transformative power, to influence every other thing that you do, your routine, your culture, your beliefs, and to also bring positive transformation, yes, into anyone's life. So the keystone habit is also a habit that holds the power to start a chain reaction, and it makes other habits possible. For example, if your keystone habit is exercising, right? You decide that I want to start taking my exercises very seriously. You will see that that habit, which is your keystone habit, has the power to transform every other area of your life. For example, it will have influence on your diet, because now you have started exercising. You are so particular about your weight. You want to keep fit. Then this habit will help you to monitor what you eat. It will affect your eating habits. It will also affect your productivity at work. So you don't need to struggle at all, because now you are fit. You have woken up early in the morning, you have gone to the gym, or you have done some very rigorous exercises. Now your brain is at alert, your body is fit, everything is working perfectly. It will translate into productivity for you at work. It will translate into the quality of work that you produce. It will also translate into your mood, your general well-being. People will see you as somebody who is now approachable, you are more relaxed, you feel well in yourself. That is exactly what the Keystone Habit does. It's just one habit that makes you see that you are making small wins. This habit has an advantage to bring you small wins. And when you make these small wins, it gives you a signal that yes, I can do more. I can push for more. Oh, I've started waking up by 5 a.m. I'm now exercising. Okay, if I can do this, then it means that I can also become more productive at work. It means that I can also change the way I scroll on social media. It means that I also have the power to be more disciplined. You see, it creates what is called small wins. And these small wins motivate for that change. It brings structure into your life, structure into your organization. It builds cultures and values that will help you to become a high valuable person, right? Yes. So the keystone habit for this guy was safety. When he became the CEO, so many investors, because since in the history of this company, people who invested in it were making good returns, but all of a sudden, the company started nosediving. They made a terrible mistake, and that affected the profits of the company. So they were forced to choose a new CEO, and they went for Mr. Paul O'Neill. And at his first meeting with investors, they were expecting him to talk about profits. They were expecting him to talk about structure. They were expecting him to talk about investment, returns, and all of that. But he kept on hammering on on safety. He said, we want to change the way that workers feel safe. We believe that if workers are safe, if the culture of safety is upheld in this company, we are going to produce quality work. So he didn't even mention anything about profit, about investment, about returns. In fact, one guy said as soon as he was done talking, he went straight to make phone calls to his clients, because most of the investors there were investors from Wall Street in New York. So one guy who was a top investor made a phone call to his clients that, see, you have to pull your money out of this company. This new CEO does not know what he's doing, but he later said that was the worst piece of advice that he had given in his entire career, because through the culture of safety, which was the key habit, the keystone habit that Paul O'Neill introduced, the company was able to record massive profit. It is recorded here that Alcoa's profit would hit a record high. By the time O'Neill retired in the year 2000, the company's annual net income was 5 times larger than before he arrived. And its market capitalization had risen by $27 billion. Someone who invested $1 million in this company on the day that Paul O'Neill resumed as the CEO, would have earned another $1 million in dividends, just dividends alone, in 1 year. And in 5 years, this person's investment would have risen times 5. That was how profitable the company became. What did Paul O'Neill did? Safety. He hammered on safety. So the keystone habit says, you don't have to try to change every habit that you have. You don't have to try to want to change everything or bring transformation into every area. Just focus on one habit. That habit that matters the most, that has the potential to influence every other aspect of your life or your company. That is the habit that you should focus on. That habit has a ripple effect. There is no how. It will positively influence other areas of your life. Right. We also see the story of a popular swimmer, Michael Phelps, whose coach helped to focus on his own keystone habit as well, which was visualization. He used the power of his imagination. He would give him a videotape to watch. So this guy would watch the videotape. He would watch it and he would start replaying everything in that videotape in his head. Possible successes, victories, possible challenges, possible failures, and so on. So his brain and his body followed predictable patterns. right? In the case of Paul O'Neill, there was this ripple effect. The cue, let's go back to the habit loop, right? The cue was that, oh, you know, workers were getting injured at work. Now, the routine was that you should report it instantly within 24 hours. Make sure that you report it to your top management. In fact, a time came, he gave all the laborers his telephone number, that if you notice any kind of accident, you can call me directly. It looks as if your managers, your directors are not reporting it enough. You can call me directly. And what was the reward? Anybody who reported had the chance to get promoted, had the chance to be recognized, to be praised. So people started calling. And most times they were not calling for safety. They were calling to share ideas, to report other things. So use safety as a keystone habit that opened the door for them to now start sharing ideas. They felt closer to the CEO. And one guy shared one idea that brought the company lots of profit. This guy had been nursing the idea for decades. He has been saying it, but nobody was listening to him because they would just see him as a junior staff. His executives would be like, what do you know? But when Paul O'Neill opened the communication channel through safety, report safety to me. If anybody has an accident, if everybody is injured at work, report it to me. So they saw the avenue to call him. And when they call, they now saw it as an opportunity to share their ideas, to bring suggestions, which took the company forward. That was how they were able to make profit. So it wasn't the safety directly that brought profit to the company, but because he used the safety as a channel to open doors to other forms of communication. Now, let me go back to Michael Phelps, the great swimmer. His coach would make him watch this videotape, would help him to visualize. He would visualize all kinds of things. In fact, anytime he faced a challenge, he would have watched it in the videotape first. He would be calm. He was somebody that was naturally restless. But through the help of his coach, he started becoming calm. One day, he was in a competition. He was already inside water. He was swimming. Then he became blind. Water filled his goggles. He wasn't seeing anymore, But do you know that through the power of visualization, he was able to swim through, and he broke world record at that time. Already through this habit of visualizing, of having a routine, a pattern of how things should go, he had won so many medals, so many medals. This keystone habit also helped people to lose weight. Before now, what doctors or dietitians or nutritionists would recommend was that, for you to lose weight, you need to watch your diet, you need to go to the gym, you need to climb the stairs instead of driving in your car all the time, try and take some walks, and all of that. But it wasn't working, because after a while of people trying all these things, the initial excitement, the initial dopamine rush, they will stick to it for a few weeks. They would go back to their normal way of life. They would just get bored and tired. So in the process, they would even add more weight than they had before, because they just be like, well, I can't kill myself. Let me eat my food and enjoy my life. So what did they do? They made people to start recording everything that they ate. Even if it is just once in a week, write it down. If you take biscuits, write it down. If you took yogurt, write it down. Whatever it is, just write it down. So people started seeing these small wins. Okay, so I can actually document what is going on. I can actually document what I am eating. Right. That helped to build momentum. That helped to see that, okay, if I can take track or keep track of what I'm eating, it means that I have the ability to do more. It means that I have the ability to control my diet. It means that I have a choice not to eat a particular kind of meal. And that was it. It started working. So you need to identify the key habits in your own life. What is that one habit that really, really matters? That you know that if you can force yourself, if you can discipline yourself to get hold of this habit, and you are so consistent with it, that single behavior, that single habit will help restructure your entire life. It will help restructure your business. It could be in your own company. You need to find that habit that can be a link to greater achievements in that company, that you can use to bring all employees together. Because in the case of Paul O'Neill, the safety of workers, united unions, employees, managers, everybody, because safety was very important. It is non-negotiable. Nobody could argue it. And he told them point blank, see, I'm happy to negotiate anything with you, but not safety. And it was just a wise approach, because he knew that safety is common to everybody. We all want safety. We all want to feel safe, no matter who we are. So that was the binding habits that he used. Right. So think about your own life too. What is that one habit that, if you can be disciplined about, it is going to bring so much change into every area of your life? You know, that one habit that will help you have a feeling of small wins that will bring about bigger wins. That one habit that will create a culture of discipline, a culture of wins in your life. You need to think about it. If you are a CEO or you are working in any organization, what is that one thing? You have to sit down and think about it. Just like Paul O'Neill, he would make a list. He wasn't just thinking of, and he wasn't just lazy about it. Even when he was working for the government, he helped to solve the problem of high mortality rates. Babies were dying before their first birthdays. And he dug and dug and dug until he got to the root of the matter. And you wouldn't believe that the solution he found was that teachers needed to be trained better to be able to teach biology in schools, so that before these mothers start having children, they will be eating so well, because they discovered that what was causing this mortality rate, high mortality rate, was that mothers were not eating well, poor nutrition. And so they were giving birth to premature babies, and these babies would usually die early. So they got to the root of the matter and found that when women are in their teenage years, they're not eating well. So they wanted teachers to start teaching them nutrition, biology. They discovered that even these teachers did not have enough knowledge about biology, about nutrition. So what did they do? They beefed up their efforts in training biology teachers, and that solved the problem. The mortality rate in America reduced by 68%. It used to be one of the highest. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not something that you have to be lazy about. You have to think about it. This guy walked his way into all the solutions that he was able to bring. You have to think about it. You have to start being observant. You have to be disciplined. You have to write. You have to journal. Make a list. What is one habit that will help me? What is this thing that I need to start doing? And you see that once you can just get just one habit is enough. That's your keystone habit. Once you start doing it, it will bring about so much transformation, so many changes in your life, right? So focus on that one habit. Tell yourself that this small win matters. All right. I think we've said enough about chapter 4. Yeah, so these habits, keystone habits, can work in your personal life, can work in your organization. We have seen it through stories. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like this video, share your comments with me, and please subscribe to this channel in case you are yet to subscribe. I remain Olaide Ogbaje, also known as First Lady. And on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. Tomorrow, we're going to review chapter 5. Yes. This also has to do with how habits can transform organizations and also our own personal lives. So chapter 5 is titled Starbucks and the Habits of Success, when willpower becomes automatic. It is going to be another insightful review. Until then, be intentional. Bye.